Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. Commissioner Stevens, would you like to say a prayer for us, please?
Sure, let's pray together. Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful for this country in which we live. We're thankful for the rights and the responsibilities that we have as members of it. And Father, I pray that you'll give guidance and wisdom to those who are elected tonight, and I pray that they'll lead the country and lead the local governments in accordance with your will. Father, be with us tonight as we consider this information and make decisions. I pray that you'll fill us with wisdom and that we'll make good decisions for our constituents. We pray all these things through Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I believe we've all received a copy of the minutes. Do I have a motion concerning this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any comments?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Nay. Okay, motion passes. First, we have the building and code report.
Madam Chairman, Commissioner, you have it on your iPad and a paper copy on the table. Building permits issued for October, 235 building permits. Fees taken in from building permits was $49,249. Plumbing permits was $7,675. Gas permit fees was $1,550 for a total of $58,474. Back to the report shows us the totals for this month compared to last year's. 235 total permits for October of this year compared to 146 last year. Our single families was 45 this year compared to 32 last year. Our totals for the year, 445 single-family dwellings, and last year was 290, so we're up 155 houses from last year at this time, and our totals are up 457 total permits from last year at this time. Our inspections for property maintenance, October 173 inspections was performed. BZA conditional uses and sign inspections was 39. New cases for October 34. Closed cases 56. Our next report is the development tax collections. Building Codes Department took in $99,750. Planning Department took in $46,500 for a total of $146,250. Our jurisdictions that collections were taken in is below that, with $94,500 being our largest in Murfreesboro City, where we collected. Our total for the 4 months of this year is $531,750. We're up a little over about $200,000 from last year's first 4 months, from July to October. And that's my report, Madam Chairman.
Are there any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve is presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
We are going to, if I don't have any objections, we're going to move the landfill and solid waste to the end. So next we have the highway department. Commissioner Jernigan, do you have anything special?
The highway department has got, first in there is naming a bridge. It's on Highway 96 near Browns Mill Road, Bill Martin Bridge. And it was approved at the road board meeting. And we'll need to pass that on.
Okay, do I have a motion concerning the bridge?
Second. There's been a motion though?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Motion carries.
The next item is drainage easement. It's at Kingwood Trace subdivision, lot 6. And you all have a copy of it. And outlining all this, so I'll make a motion to approve the drainage easement there. Kingwood Trace subdivision, lot number 6.
Second.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No? Motion carries. Okay, next we have planning.
Good evening, Commissioners. Just bear with me a second here while we pull it up. Okay. The first thing I just want to call your attention to is our lot inventory that we've presented to you today. You'll see that the total available lots that we have in the unincorporated county right now in major subdivisions is about just a little bit over 1,100. And you can see how that compares to this time last year. We're down almost 200 lots. So just want to point that out. Again, we still see the downward trend. We still got quite a few out there, lots, but we see the increased activity through building codes. So we're seeing more activity on this and less available lots. So I just want to call your attention to that. If there's no other questions with that, I'll move on to our zoning report. We do have 2 items that will be coming up for consideration next week. The first is a piece of property located along Highway 96. This is what's called the Nature Walk subdivision. The applicant's proposing to develop a planned residential development. The concept plan shows 165 new single-family residential homes on about 75 acres, with almost 26 acres set aside for open space. These 75 acres were previously approved as part of the Springhouse subdivision. This new proposal that they have put before us will increase their lot yield by about 29 lots, again, but they are providing a whole lot more open space than what they originally had. The remainder of the property will still be part of the Springhouse subdivision, portions of which are already been developed, houses on them. You'll see in your agenda packets, on the map, you'll see the limits of the area to be zoned, and the area to the north of that will be the Springhouse subdivision. Preliminary plats for that subdivision originally were going to contain about 204 acres. Was approved back in February 2007. Section 1 was given final approval in October 2009 and then recorded in August of 2010, which created 36 residential lots and the portions of the step system. Since that time, there's been about 17 building permits issued for that subdivision. This particular application originally came to the Planning Commission back in August for their consideration. At the time, the Planning Commission asked for a deferral in order for the applicants to meet with the neighbors, especially in the Springhouse subdivision. They had several concerns about what was being proposed. They weren't able to have it in the month between August and September, so they ended up having a neighborhood meeting on September the 24th. And in your agenda packets, you'll notice that there is a sheet in there toward the back of the packet. And this is not mine to come up, so I'll just read it right now. Here we go. Now, there were several changes. In the meeting, I was in attendance at that particular meeting with the developer, and I'd say between 15 and 20 of the neighbors in that area who came out to voice some of the concerns that they had. They had several concerns with the square footage minimum of the homes, the makeup of the homes as far as materials being used and everything. So, again, very productive meeting, lots of good discussion. And the developer has made the changes that you see on your iPad or on your agenda packets. They did agree to change the 1,600 square foot minimum to 1,800 square foot. Homes would be a minimum of 35% brick, hardy board, stone, those type materials. There was some concern about people just creating rental property in the neighborhood. It's difficult to say that people just can't rent their property, but the way they worded it was just that you couldn't purchase a home with the intent of making it income producing or rental property. And then there was some concern about vehicles parked on the street on a long-term basis. These are things that the homeowner association would be really responsible for enforcing. Additional changes, you can see that they proposed as well. They plan an evergreen buffer between the Nature Walk development and the existing spring house. Stone or masonry monument sign denoting the dividing line between the two. And then there was some discussion about the homeowners of Spring House being given the option to combine homeowner associations with the new development or just maintaining their separate entities. That would be something that'd be up to them. So that's kind of the basics behind that application. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have on that particular application.
Doug, I just want to say again, for the benefit of anybody watching, we've talked about this in planning, so far as the rental property goes, that sort of thing, that's handled in the restrictive covenants.
Correct.
That is a private civil enforcement. That is nothing that the county will enforce
Yes.
or monitor in any way.
Yes, and you are correct with that, yes, ma'am. If there's no other questions on that, the second item we have, of course, is the public hearing for the new zoning, proposed zoning ordinance and map. You'll recall we had a joint work session with the Planning Commission back on September 17th of this year. Then we followed up with some of the questions and concerns that were brought up at that meeting at the October 11th Board of Commissioners meeting. I'm not going to go into any kind of a presentation here on that, but if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to discuss those at this point. We've met the notification criteria that is located in Tennessee Code Annotated in regards to new ordinances and the 30-day notice that's required for those. We've also placed advertisements about this on Channel 19 on our website. So when we know the newspaper has picked up on this, and they're supposed to be writing an article about this again coming up here in the very near future. So again, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if you have them right now. But that'll be the second item that we have on the agenda for next week.
Again, this is just a reminder, really, I guess, to all the commissioners that this document cannot be modified from the floor.
That's correct.
It's either you accept it in its current form or you vote it down.
Or
That's
send it
correct.
back, right? Yes, ma'am.
Can you, it was voted 7 for, 2 against. Was
Yes.
there anything in particular?
Well, I think the issues, the two gentlemen that voted against that, I think one had some concerns about the way that we were handling commercial property as far as how there were some instances that came up where, of course, what we tried to do with existing commercial uses was we looked at how they were being used, looked at how they were being taxed, and what we tried to do, we tried to assign a zoning classification for existing commercial uses that would allow the use, but was the most restrictive way to allow that use. There were a few uses out there, and I don't know exactly how many, it wasn't many, just a handful or so, but there were some out there that really the closest classification that you could have put it in that would have allowed it would have been some sort of an industrial district or something like that. And there were a couple uses, a couple properties that were in the middle of maybe more rural residential areas, and to have a piece of industrial property which would open the door to a lot of other uses that didn't really feel the proper approach to staff. So we recommended they be zoned for residential use, but would be non-conforming. They would still be able to continue what they're doing. I think that was one of the concerns, that was just how some of those properties were handled. The other concern, I think, had to do with just the nature of conditional use permits and how we were proposing to handle them under the new ordinance versus how we handle them under the existing. So I think those were the concerns as I understood them.
And really, for me, from my perspective, that vote is completely representative of this document, because and how the whole county is going to view it. You're not going to make everybody happy, but we were able to make the majority of folks happy with this effort. So I wasn't bothered at all by the vote.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Motion passes.
And just for the sake of people watching, you know, we just talked about it, but the public hearing for that zoning ordinance and map revision will be at next week's meeting. Meeting starts at 6, public hearing's at 6:30. If anybody has questions, even between now and then, feel free to give me a call. We're more happy to sit down and discuss any of this with any of you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, under any other business, Commissioner P. brought forward a bridge renaming, and I think he would like to give us a little more information on that.
If that's all right?
Mhm.
This is David Adams, and he's one of the gentlemen that's helped get together a list. And I don't have but a couple copies of a petition, but basically it's a request to the commission and also the highway department from the residents of the Kittrell community to place a sign on the bridge across Cripple Creek on the old highway by the new school in honor of Uncle Dave Macon. Actually, the sign, they would like for it to read, in memory of Uncle Dave Macon, the Dixie Dewdrop, 1870 to 1952. Of course, his home site was just down from the bridge there. But the reason we went ahead and brought this to you tonight, if y'all want to look at these, all the people that live right in that area have signed on to this, as far as I know, and then quite a few other people that some of you will recognize, a few commissioners, sheriffs, judges, that kind of thing. But what we'd like to ask you to do, since this hasn't been in front of the road board, is just to pass a resolution contingent upon the road board passing it. That way, these guys won't have to come back. The mayor explained to me that actually all these guys needed to do was go to the road board, but as you know, we wanted to bring it to you and get y'all support too, not slide anything around. It could have gone straight to the state, but we'd prefer to go this route, which is what people normally do. Is that correct?
Well, what I probably misspoke, in that that's a state road, I believe, so I'm not sure, according to Mr. Joe Frankie, if the road board actually asked you, we will have to send this on to the state. They just make a
It'll
delegation.
be up to state to approve it on that road anyway.
So it'll be from the state, so it can go, we won't have to go to the road board, is what you're saying?
We don't think so, but this group needs to recommend this. Get commission
But if you
approval,
wanted
then we
to, you
request
can,
to
but
a
I mean-
legislative delegation.
They've had them in the past on
Yeah.
state road.
Well, not knowing which direction to go, you know, we asked y'all's help in this.
Sure.
So. If you have any questions, as far as the cost of the sign, it'll be picked up by the people that are in support of this, so.
That's what I was just about to say. There's not gonna be any funding from the county, so.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes? Motion passes.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vicki, I think you got it.
I've got it.
Sorry.
Becky.
What was it, Farley did that last time.
Okay, landfill and solid waste, Mr. Nolan?
Good evening, how are y'all?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. We've had a lot of stuff going on. That's the reason I asked to be last. First, we got the landfill report. Landfill's actually doing pretty good. Revenues are up just a little bit. If you'll look at your report, you'll see where the city of Murfreesboro tore down one house. We took that at no charge. And then the county tore down 3 homes that was related to the FEMA thing, and that's where those are. I ran some numbers from July 1st to October 31st, which is the past 4 months. The landfill's taken in $228,440, and we spent $188,830 to get there.
The FEMA houses, do we have a plan on those yet, or? will this
All
be
we can do is take them
park
down,
area, or?
just like we've taken down a number past years. Nothing can be done with that property except be maintained as green space. So that's what's happening.
And all I know about them is they asked to dump them there. That's all I can answer. And then moving on to the convenience center side, we've got a whole lot's been going on there. We had our oil-based paint collection almost 3 weeks ago now. We had about 70 vehicles show up at Haley Road to bring oil-based paint. And then last weekend, we had our household hazardous waste collection, which had 207 vehicles, bring that in. We had the Smyrna High School girls basketball team helping with that, so give them a little credit. And then Recycle Rutherford has just completed their phone book drive. They had to draw in last night. 10 classrooms in county and city schools got a $200 check each for a total of $2,000. And then you'll see in there where Sam Ridley Kroger site is closing. The Kroger store is expanding. Their business is quite a bit larger through the construction phase and all that kind of stuff. There's just absolutely no room for us to stay there. So this coming Sunday, the 11th, we will remove all those containers from that. And I talked to the project manager, and he's thinking it's a 9 or 10 month project to add on to that store.
So will you go back
No,
in
ma'am.
Smyrna somewhere else?
No, ma'am. The unmanned sites, back when they started, well over 10 years ago, were really needed because the convenience centers did not collect those commodities. So those, Kroger was really instrumental in helping that. We had 4 sites in the county. That's the only one in Smyrna left. But it costs more to haul and maintain those than the commodity is worth. We actually make money off of recycling, but we lose money there. So once those are gone, we don't plan on putting that back. What we do plan on doing though is the Haley Road site. We've had a site plan for a couple of years. We just never have moved very, very quickly with it. We plan to use those same individuals. We'll be open 5 days a week. We'll take electronics all 5 days. We'll take oil-based paint, batteries, engine oil, used cooking oil, and antifreeze.
I just know there's a lot of people who use that Kroger site. You know, I think it's going to be sorely missed. So.
Oh, I've had some phone calls. And then, speaking of our recycle, we in this past 4-month period, we've dumped 2,191 tons of recycled material. That same period, we dumped 11,022 tons of trash. So that's about a 17% recycle rate. The recycled commodities brought in $102,000, and we spent $591,500 to haul that stuff. Now that's included the trash hauls, so there's no money to be made on the trash hauls. The 2 budgets, the recycle budget and the convenience center budget, commingle there because it's the same. It's the garbage trucks hauling the recycle, so we don't have the trucking costs in the recycle. So when you look at that budget, it looks like it's really making a lot of money, but it doesn't show all the costs involved in it. What else do I have? Just recently got the numbers on the Haley Road electronics collection from January and through October was 818,000 pounds of electronics that we've recycled. Was actually down from last year, but our November, December numbers are usually a little bit higher, so that we had 585 tons last year, so we think we'll be close to that again. Any questions on the report?
Okay, so that's all of your report, and then you have something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and vote on the report. Do I hear a motion?
Let's move.
Second.
Second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No? Motion passes.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, you want to join me?
Yeah. Let me let this phone quit. Okay. For about at least 4 years, at least since Mac has been here, we've recognized clearly the struggle we have with the space that we have behind the Armory building. We have outdoor storage of all the trucks, no place for any inside maintenance or repair or even oil changes.
The drivers are in a storage shed and have a porta potty.
That's been there forever, so we've been wanting to find a place that would be a permanent location that would give us an opportunity to really make some real improvements and manage these vehicles and support them and repair them, etc. Okay, saying all that to say that we don't have our proposal ready for you to actually give to you to ask you to support it or approve it, but we want to give you a bit of advance notice that we have what we think might be a serious opportunity to obtain and acquire some property that would be just ready to go, already containing structures thereon that we can use very, very effectively and efficiently. And we think that we have enough dollars in his ending fund balance to make this happen. Of course, it'll be up to the commission to decide if they really want to do that and spend the kind of dollars we're talking about. It also has the potential, and it will be located on the eastern part of our county where we don't have an ambulance station. So if and when you choose to expand and put one out there, which is the more likely place that we're going to need one, it would have enough land to make that happen. We are also, and all of this is still very, very preliminary, so don't assume that we have this all nailed down yet. There is also a good possibility that we could move our current little maintenance shop, and those of you might know that it's underneath the Armory building in the very, very cramped, inadequate space. We might could even move that and share that space. So it has real potential for all three of those things to be really effective and efficient. So we just like to let you know that maybe by next meeting that you have here, we might have a proposal that we'd actually like to put on the table and see if you guys would approve that. We'll probably give property management the same kind of heads up that we're giving you. And we don't want to actually talk so much about the price and the location because we haven't really started any real serious negotiations, and we don't want to interfere with our ability to maybe to have a bit of opportunity to maneuver through this in a careful, thoughtful way. So that's, I don't know, all of you haven't been down there to see, but I think if you could go down there at 6 o'clock one morning and see what they've been dealing with down there, it would be, you probably could appreciate this a little bit more.
If it's that cramped, I think we got a good shop up there at the landfill right now. Why can't we move it up there? If it, I mean, we got a shop and
We do
and all,
we do a little of the maintenance that's up there at the landfill, but the getting in and out of the landfill, and there's not really a place at the landfill to house all the employees that go along with it. It is a good shop to work in, and we do take trucks up there to work on it.
we might need to look at maybe adding on to that. I still want to know, I'd like to know, since it's my district, I want to know what the location is, where this is going to be located, and if it's going to cost a large amount of money, I think we might need to look at doing a little addition up there at the landfill. That's just my feelings. I don't know about the rest of I just got to see the numbers, the dollar amount, and all that.
Part of the problem at the landfill is where the shop is located. The water supply we have out there is a sulfur well. And the nearest place to bring water in would be from across the river from the VA hospital side. It's about 2,300 feet of water line. And then the other problem we have is with electricity. It comes around across BFI. And we only have single-phase power. We've got a 3-phase power converter just to run the leachate well, and then we have issues with that. So it'd be really expensive just to run the utilities back there to it.
That's a point well taken, and we need to consider that. I think you also need to, in the back of our mind, sort of think about what is the long-term viability of what we're doing at that landfill. It may be that you want to consider some other options with that, maybe even to the point of selling that landfill for future use, future space, you might say, for that could be used to expand the life of what's happening right out there with the Middle Point landfill. So all of that is quite complicated, and we don't know what exactly should be the right approach.
Did you just say possibly selling the county landfill?
That's been discussed over a number of years.
Mr. Nolan had said something about it to me. Can we get something together where we can compare some benefits and Is that something that you're,
Well, first of all, we sort of have to decide, is that really something we want to do? We would have to give up the acceptance of construction debris, that's all we're taking. And we'd have to find out if there's any potential, real potential for someone else to take what we've got and to convert that land that we've got into a long-term viable use. And we've been told that's possible, we don't know that for sure. And we don't know whether the cost of converting what we have to something else for another use would be more than the value of what we got. So we don't know if there's any net value. So we can't put anything on the table because we really don't have any data yet. And we haven't really spent enough time or allowed ourselves or anyone else to really focus on that, quite honestly.
worth looking into though, right?
Yeah,
Or-
we've talked about this on and off for a few years, but it's hard to get your arms around what we should do, how we should do this, because it's highly regulated, the whole process is. And you just can't decide you're gonna do this unless somebody has done enormous amounts of engineering studies to see if it's, what it's going to cost to make a conversion, and then use it, and then match that value up, or that cost up with the value of what we think our property is worth. And there may not be any net value that we really would interest us, so we have a lot of homework to do.
And then consider, once it's closed, how much the upkeep, that we're paying for it.
Yeah, we have an ongoing cost, as you well know, to every year to maintain that and keep it in compliance forever. You might say it's still
If we were to sell it, they would be the buyers.
be their responsibility.
Responsibility. So what we're looking at there is really down the road. Instead of a year or two, we're looking at the next 25 to 40 years of how it will affect the economy and how we deal with trash in this area.
A lot to think about.
Now, in this other opportunity that you're looking at, do you have a timeline in mind, or you're just still in very early stages of kind of forming your thoughts?
We'll have to address what Commissioner Black said, but we could, in the next 30 days, we could be back here with what we think is a reasonable offer. And subject, we wouldn't negotiate, can't negotiate until you guys would authorize us to negotiate.
This piece of property is already zoned commercial,
Okay.
and it's already got the facility that we would need already there.
Well, as far as the ambulance station, we got property out there where the volunteer fire department is. We won't cost us a dime, as far as, putting it there. Like I said, I just like to know a little bit more and, look at the numbers, see how much it's gonna cost. We definitely need a new site. I don't like paying the lease on the convenience center out there, but, I just wait and see what comes back. And I'll give y'all my opinion then.
We'll have some specific discussions with you since it's in your area and give you a little bit more of a heads up.
Appreciate that.
And we would move the convenience center too? Was that
Not
related to
necessarily,
that?
we'll have to discuss that, but this.
Okay. Any other questions, or?
There's really nothing we're asking you to do. I mean, we're just giving you a little bit of advance notice. And if you have questions, we'd be happy to talk to you individually about this, but we're really not much of a position to say much more than what we've said to you as a total group yet.
Okay, thank you.
All I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one or two other pieces of information under other business. Some of you remember and know where McCormick Trucking has that site out there on Jefferson Pike. Is that in your district, Commissioner, as well? Or it's almost to 840.
No, that's Williams.
It might be his. But in any event, they've had that site there, and they have all those trucks, and they haul mail, a lot of them. And there's a need to put a turn lane there, you might say, on Jefferson Pike. And what is available the state has this industrial access road program. And we have submitted an application to the state asking them if they will survey, design, obtain environmental permits, and construct this roadway. And they have basically said yes. In other words, they would pay for all of this. Now, it does say that the county, if there's any necessary right-of-way, or if there's any necessity to relocate any of the utilities, that the county would pay for it. Number one, the right-of-way is already there. And number two, there's not any utilities that will have to be moved. But just in the case that we've missed that, which we haven't, the owner of the McCormick Trucking, which is a company called Ram Properties, they have agreed if any of those costs were to arise, they would pay for them. So it would be something that would improve the ability for that trucking firm to continue to use that property there, and the state will pay for everything it's going to take to put that little turn lane in there. So what I'm telling you is, in all probability, before your next meeting, we'll have an agreement that asks the commission to accept and participate in this state industrial access road program to the tune of funding and fixing this. So we'll have to sign off on it, and I'll need your permission. We'll present it to you next time, assuming we get an actual contract from them by then. But they have approved the use of their funds to make this change. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay.
And I don't know if, I just had Vicki put this in your email so you can see. This comes out, I don't know whether we get this every month or not, but you can see what roads the state has underway and somewhat the status of those things are. So.
Okay, do we have anything else that needs to come before the committee? If not, we stand adjourned.